Mr. Lemaitre. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lemaitre, where all your dreams come true. Oh, it brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start our reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lemaitre. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lemaitre, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, good morning. Never enough time for the jig. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am glad that we're here together. Happy Friday. Yes, indeed. Happy Friday to each and every one of you that is joining in today, whether joining us live right now or indeed joining us later on for the recordings. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. We thank you for your time being here. And of course, your input and everything that you bring to this story time. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you had a lovely week. And of course, I hope that you have a good weekend coming up. I hope that you're looking forward to it. I hope that it is one that you get to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here with us on Story Time. And yes, we have one more book to round off our week, and it is one that definitely has me thinking, and I hope that it have you thinking as well. I'm sure it will. And this one is in the series, What About? Today we talk philosophy. So join in for this one. Get ready for this wonderful book, an illustrated Q&A book for kids. And I love it. And it is written by Gwanaelle, Boulet, and Anne-Sophie, Chulard, and illustrations by Pascal, Lemaitre. And so we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, 12 books, an imprint of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. So yes, by the way of Chronicle, all the way out from France, we're here today with What About Philosophy. Thank you so much for joining in, and please let us know where you're joining in from, and if anybody's joining in with you, please let us know who's there so we can say hello to them as well. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you've enjoyed the selection that we've had this week. We've read some beautiful books, all brand new to story time, even though some have been published a few years now, but they're all brand new to story time. We kicked off the week with Yenabe's drive to school, which is just so beautiful, and stories that so many people can relate to, and just showing to how different and also how similar our our activities, our journeys, our upbringings, our lives can be. There's those intersections, but there's also places that are very, very different, and all we can do is try and understand what others have gone through and learn from that. Right? Thank you so much for being here. Then we had book. Yes, and I still remember Ari's comment. A book called Book does not make sense at all. Well, that one we had book, and I hope that the book itself made sense to you afterwards. Thank you so much. And then we had, of course, yesterday She Spoke, and today we bring to you What About series, and today the focus is philosophy. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Yes, books that keep us think, books that take us to all kinds of places indeed. Thank you so much for joining in, and we do remember too that this month is Pride Month, and so we get to celebrate and honor our LGBTQ plus community, and we continue to do that. And if you're out here in the Bay Area, you know that the Pride Parade will be happening in San Francisco tomorrow. So please make your way there and show your support. Thank you so much for joining in. Look out for whatever else is happening in your community around your area and see how you can get involved. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Let us see who is here with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Yes, ready to think with us this morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? Megan and Ari out there in Kentucky, where it is rainy today. Well, thank you so much for joining in. Summer rains out there in Kentucky. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you, and we're glad that you're here. Sounds like the perfect weather for reading. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Always a pleasure to have you here with us. Much love to you. Thank you. Thank you indeed. Ari and Megan, and of course, Jake. Sending you love as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for being here. Good morning from Sarah and Nathan, James and Amanda. Thank you so much for joining in from somewhere in the middle of Illinois. So you're in the middle of the middle right now. Thank you so much for joining in. We're doing a short day trip, but yay, technology lets us still listen to today's book. That sounds like something the kids would thoroughly enjoy right before bedtime. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you indeed. Yes, thankful you're right for things like technology in these cases, for sure, something that we appreciate, right? And many other times too, but specific to story time, we're glad you're able to join in this morning. Thank you so much for being here. The questions paused definitely track with some that time of night. Happy Friday. Well, thank you so much for joining in. Yes, it is indeed a brilliant book, and I cannot wait to share the excerpts that we're going to share. Only bits of it. I wish we could share all of it, but we're going to share only bits of it because of time. But hopefully that it allows us to then dig deeper and, look for this book at your local library as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Safe travels on that trip. Enjoy it. And yes, may it be lots of fun. I'm sure it will be. Thank you so much for joining in. Sarah, Nathan, James, and of course, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us from out in the middle of Illinois somewhere today. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. We appreciate you. Good morning to you one more time, Ari and Megan. Today we were playing chess, but we had to pause for story time. Oh my goodness, I am honored right now. Thank you so much. And thank you for always allowing us to be a part of your morning. So glad to be here with you. So glad to be able to read together. And just appreciations all around. Thank you indeed. Oh yes, and that's the beauty of I feel like games like chess. You can pause and come back to them. And just curious too, if Megan, Ari, not there yet, but Megan, if you've watched Queen's Gambit as well, I enjoyed it. I'm not a very good chess player, but just watching the way that show was done is brilliant. If you've not yet, please check it out. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Good morning to you, Sharon Lungo, and of course, Soraya as well. Thank you for joining us from right here in Oakland. Are you ready for our story for today, for our book today? What about? This is a series, What About? And the focus is philosophy. An illustrated Q&A book for kids. Oh, so many questions being asked in here. And but before then too, let's just start off, I think, with the note to readers, and then we'll go into reading some of the questions. Well, exploring some of the questions that are asked in the book. So here we go. Note to readers. Why do we exist? What is love? Why is there war? These kinds of big life questions are what philosophy is all about. Curious people, young and old, have always wondered why the world is the way it is. Yet, these philosophical questions rarely have one simple answer. Oh, they may not have an answer at all. The purpose of this book is to help guide you as you think about the many possible answers to life's big questions. The ideas explored here were inspired by classroom discussions and consultation with philosophers Oscar Brenifier and Jean-Charles Pittier. The fun, accessible text and whimsical illustrations are your key to discovering how to think for yourself and form your own opinions. Enjoy. And we'll be right back after this short break to dive into some of those questions. I'm excited. I got to select a few. I wish I could put out a poll so people could have selected some of them. But for this time around, we're going to read a few that I've selected, three in fact, and we'll see how far we can get with those. But join me on the other side of this short break when we're back for more story time. Thank you for being here with us. Appreciate you all. I'll see you on the other side.
Hi, friends. I hope you're enjoying today's story on Storytime with Mr. Lemaitre. I know I am. My name is Angela Dalton, and I'm the author of picture books, including If You Look Up to the Sky, Show the World, and Ruby's Reunion Day Dinner, all of which you can hear Mr. Lemaitre read right here on Storytime with Mr. Lemaitre. I hope you continue to enjoy today's story, and I hope to see you soon. Okay, bye.
Welcome back. Thank you indeed, Angela Dalton. As you know, Ruby's Reunion Day Dinner, To Boldly Go, and many other beautiful books. So if you've not checked out Angela Dalton's work, well, find them at Storytime Archives, and of course, find them at your local library. To Boldly Go, How Nichelle Nichols and Star Trek Changed Civil Rights is available. It is Angela's very latest book. Thank you so much for joining in. Here we go. Some questions to think about that are asked or that this book explores. Whoa, did I get my... Let's see if I can get... There we go. There. So here are the contents, and it asks, why do humans exist? What is it like to be in love? What does it mean to be brave? What does it mean to be smart? And that's the one that we're going to start with today. What does it mean to be free? Why do we get jealous? Do we always have to be kind? Is it bad to make a mistake? Do we always have to share? And that's another one that we're going to explore. What is money for? Why are there wars? Why do we go to school? What is time? Fair or unfair? What is the purpose of history? What is anger? Lots of questions to think about. And we have three that we're going to explore. So here we go. We'll start with the first one for today. What does it mean to be smart? Here we go. What does it mean to be smart? All right. What does it mean to be smart? Humans are smart because they think, talk, and invent. And throw little balls at their doggy. The dog wants to play. What does it mean to be smart? All right. Can intelligence be measured? Smartness contest, they say. Meh, nothing special. I got a 99. I got a 102 for me. And 3 for me. Ah, you failed. That's because he forgot his glasses. Well, doctor, it's almost impossible to measure intelligence. Right? All these measures that are put in place are not it. Being smart doesn't necessarily mean knowing everything. Blah, 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 blah. The teacher really knows everything. Or do they? Yes, she must have been the best student when she was young. What are you playing? You don't know this game. We can never know everything. That doesn't mean we're not smart. Intelligence can be developed. And this, you see, is an arcia. It needs lots of sunlight and a little water. And I gave it a little stake to help it grow. You're so smart, Grandpa. How did you learn all that? By reading books, talking with other gardeners, and also trying different plantings over time. With a little instruction and effort, intelligence can grow, and not just for children. Being smart doesn't keep us from making mistakes. Oh, Dan, I shouldn't have added lemonade to that. Everyone makes mistakes. Being smart means knowing how to recognize them, accept them, and maybe even use them to make progress. True. Are smart people better than others? Who wants to be class president? You should. You're the smartest. He's the nicest. And she's the most generous. We sometimes consider intelligence the most important attribute to have. But the truth is, there are lots of other characteristics that are just as valuable. Definitely things to think about, right? We sometimes consider intelligence as the most important attribute to have. But the truth is, there are lots of other characteristics that are just as valuable. Has that answered any of your questions today? There are thousands of ways to be smart. That is true. Here are some. There are people who have heart smarts. Oh, thank you. These are my favorite flowers. Yes, I know. There are people who have logic smarts. A 4 plus 3 equals 7, and 8 plus 6 equals 14, and 28 divided by 4 equals. There are people who have the art smarts, right? What an artist. There are people who have practical smarts. Bingo, just to plug it in is all you need. You always impress me, my dear. And there are people who have body smarts. Amazing! Ronaldo has scored another goal. What a champion! There are people who have imagination smarts. You're not too bored. Nope, I am not. This is an interesting movie. There are people who have emotional smarts. Hey, why are you crying? Because it's beautiful. There are people who have word smarts. And that concludes my speech. Well said. Bravo. Yay. So that's just a little bit about smart. What does it mean to be smart, right? And we see there too, just if we're to take away one thing, there are so many ways to be smart. We see that intelligence is not everything, and we can grow it. Reading books, talking to other people, and just through life's experiences, right? And there are thousands of ways to be smart. Something to think about. Oh, what questions are coming up for you? Now we'll go to the next part that we'd said we'll be looking at, and that is where are you? Do we always have to share? Do we always have to share? What do you think? Do we always have to share? Here we go. There we go. Do we always have to share? What do you think? I wish these are times when I wish we could be in the same space and actually get to talk about this before we read. But here we go. Sharing isn't always easy. To get along with other people, we must learn to share. But it's not that simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want it all to myself. Do we really need everything we want? Great question. Move it. She is my mommy. Isn't love so big that there's enough for everyone? No way I'm letting them steal my ideas. What good ideas if they stay in people's heads? Something to think about. What good ideas if they stay in people's heads? So how should we share? Sharing doesn't have to mean giving the same amount to everyone. Thank you. Differences aren't necessarily unfair. What's most important is giving a portion that fits each person. Do you agree? Or what are your thoughts? While being thoughtful of others, you also need to remember to think about yourself. Thank you. There's nothing left for me. There's nothing left for you. Oh, don't worry about it. What a shame. This is my favorite soup. Real sharing is when we give willingly. Yeah. Real sharing is when we give willingly. While being thoughtful of others, you also need to remember to think about yourself. Yeah. What is the point of sharing? Sharing is taking the risk of giving without receiving, and it can also lead to others sharing with us. Sharing has its upsides, I guess. Yum, yum, yum. And laughter together. Yeah. Sharing is taking the risk of giving without receiving. And it can also lead to others sharing with us. It might not, but it might happen. So those are the thoughts on sharing. Do we always have to share? I think is the question. Yes. Do we always have to share? What do you think? Do we always have to share? And I'm going to read one more section. And I thought we should go with time. Where are you, time? What is time? Let's read that one. Let's see. What do you think? I'll pause a little bit here so you can think about that. What is time? And see what you think. What is time? Right? So as you're pondering that, we'll start reading now. What is time? Age-old question. What is time? Kind of reminds me of Forever or a Day by Sarah Jacoby. Beautiful book, right? How does time pass? Time is tricky. You can't see it. You can't feel it. But you notice its passage by seeing how things change and transform. I am a little hungry. A cup of tea and off to bed. Maybe a yawn reminds you it is what time it is. The sun rising and setting shows the passage of time and reminds us to do different things at certain times of the day. Oh, catch! What a good doggy. Goo, 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 goo. We grow up, we get older. That's time passing and making us move forward in life. To explain all these changes, humans learned to measure time. Does measuring time allow you to control it? Is it? How do we experience the passage of time? The hand on the clock always moves at the same speed. However, we often get the feeling that time is flexible or that we're constantly chasing after it. Pay attention a little bit longer. Only 15 minutes until recess. Oh, that's so long. Recess is already over? Only 15 minutes? Time can seem longer or shorter depending on what you're doing. So true. It's 7 o'clock on your feet, everybody. Oh no. The 8:12 train has just left the station. Oh no, missed it. Ever since humans began keeping track of time, they've sometimes felt like they're no longer truly free and that time is running their lives. I almost read that as ruining, but I'm pretty sure that would be true too. Ever since humans began keeping track of time, they've sometimes felt like they're no longer truly free and that time is running their lives. What would change if each person could have as much time as they wanted to do what they had to do? Is that even possible? Oh. Can we control time? No one can stop time, but to feel more independent, everyone can spend it in their own way. Yeah. Are you on an adventure? Are you taking a nap? Are you at the gym? Are you reading a book? Whatever you're doing. Yes, no one can stop time. But to feel more independent, everyone can spend it in their own way. Of course, it's different if you're at work and you have to spend it a certain kind of way, right? And finish tasks and all. I wonder what binds you there. Is it the time or is it the duties of work? Well, something to think about. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. We're going to stop here for today. Those are just some of the questions that we got to dive into. And the series is called What About Philosophy, an illustrated Q&A book for kids. Very whimsical, very funny, very cute, and just also diving into deep questions in a fun way. I hope that you can access this book at your local library. I hope that you can find it. If not there, please ask your librarians to stock it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Please catch me on the other side of this short break when we're back for more Storytime.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Chang, co-author of Bobo Loves Dumplings, Bobo's Colorful Chinese New Year, and Night Market Rescue. And this is Storytime with Mr. Lemaitre.
Thank you so much. Welcome back. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime. Charlotte Chang, thank you. Night Market Rescue is available. Ask for it at your local library. Thank you so much for joining in. And we know that not everybody has access at your local library or access to a good well-stocked library, right? So I hope that you have other means too that we can access that. And of course, you can always reach out to me. Let me know if you'd like a copy and we can work something out for sure. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And our book today was What About Philosophy? Yes, lots of thinking, lots to ponder, lots of questions I'm sure have come up for you, and that's how it should be. I hope that you continue to wonder and think about these things, and of course, to help you get into conversations about them. I wish I could be part of those conversations in a deeper way too, but this is what we have. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Appreciate you. Happy Friday to you, and I hope that everything that you do is good for you, is good to you, and I hope that indeed you do get that time, whether it's to relax, whether it's to go on an adventure, whether it's to read a book, whatever that you're doing. I hope that it is something that you enjoy, or indeed at least we get to have that time in the day where we do something that we really, really love. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. What a wonderful lineup we've had this week. We started off with Yenebe's drive to school. Then we had Buck. Then she spoke. And then, of course, today we were rounding up with What About Philosophy. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Thank you for making the time to be here with us. Absolutely appreciate you. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. To everybody that was joining in live, thank you for being here. Megan, thank you indeed for being here. And of course, Ari, thank you for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Sending you love out there in Kentucky where it is rainy this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. And of course, technology. Thank you, technology, allowing Sarah and Nathan and of course James and Amanda to join us from out there, out and about in Illinois. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of the Friday and of course a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And of course, I hope that please share any conversations that come up. I hope that this book is available at your local library as well. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, too, thank you for sharing the resource yesterday on how people can find their local libraries and of course, see where they're located. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Well, Ari and Megan, I hope you can now get back to your chess game and enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Happy Friday. Hugs to you. Thank you indeed for joining in. If you're in the Bay Area, anywhere nearby, remember too that the Pride Parade will be happening in San Francisco tomorrow, and different cities are having different things happening, different towns, so different localities are having different things happening. So please find out from your notice board or however you find information. Find out and see what's happening and see how you can participate. Yes, let's celebrate everyone in our communities. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Yes, happy Pride Month for sure. Good morning to you, Soraya and Sharon Lungo, right here in Oakland. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Appreciate you. Jake, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it so much. Yes, love right back at you, brother. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. Are you joining in the chess game as well? Thank you so much for joining in. This has been Storytime for today. This has been Storytime for this week. This has been Storytime on this wonderful Friday morning. Whatever you're up to, I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for joining in. We've had some amazing books and of course this one to round off. What about philosophy? I hope it gets you thinking. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Much love from me, and I will see you again next week when we're back with more stories and more guests to Storytime. And just enjoy your day. Thank you for being here with us. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lemaitre. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lemaitre, where all your dreams come true. Oh, it brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start our reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lemaitre. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lemaitre, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lemaitre. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lemaitre, where all your dreams come true. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.